A loud part of the audience tonight that are family and friends. This is a fascinating story. Again, there are 7 teams that will do 5 dives each. And these are teenagers, 14-year-old Kaylee Bishop. And 15-year-old Avery Warabella.
And just to set the stage somewhat, synchronized diving requires the first 2 rounds to be basic dives. So none of them carry any degree of difficulty except 2.0. All of them receive 2.0 degree of difficulty.
What a thrill for, we saw these 2 youngsters with their families arriving on little scooters to the natatorium for tonight's finals, but what a thrill to be in an Olympic final. Again, 7 teams contesting tonight. Scores, though, are such that really this is a 2-team race for the 1 Olympic spot. Daria Lenz is a diver at Stanford. And Charlie Campbell from Midland, Texas, competed for Texas A&M.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, go.
So we see these simple dives being done in round 1 and 2, and then we'll see the more difficult dives, the spinning, the twisting, and the last 3 rounds are where the divers separate themselves more and more. But this contest is cumulative, meaning that every dive they've done in the preliminaries, those 5, plus every dive they've done in the semifinals, those 5, have been added to get the scores that will determine the Olympic team.
Well, one of the standout divers so far at these trials, 18-year-old Haley Hernandez from South Lake, Texas. She is second in the individual 3-meter. And her partner is Emily Grun from North Carolina.
Synchronized diving with 2 divers diving side by side, attempting to mirror each other perfectly as they perform the same dive. It's judged by the execution of the individual dives. 3 judges judge 1 diver, 3 judges judge another diver, and then 5 judges judge how well they mirror or synchronize.
And that's why you see, as opposed to the individual diving, you see so many scores. I simply just explained, because there are so many components to this. And that's one of the mysteries I've always wondered about. If 2 divers don't do the dive well, but they do it in sync,
they score a little bit better in synchro than they do on those first 6 scores.
We talk about this every Olympics.
2, 3, go.
I like watching Kristen Hayden and Margot O'Meara both diving from a program Rip Fest here in Indianapolis, because they have so much height to their dives. They are very, very dynamic, and we're always looking to see if they can control all of that strength and height. They do a pretty good job there. The magic points on the first dive would be 50 points. That's what you're aiming for.
Come close to that. Again, the smiles of young divers getting this opportunity. Samantha Pickens on the right was such a huge part. She went to dive at age 29. She went to dive in the World Cup in Tokyo and helped claim a spot for the United States in the 3-meter, the individual 3-meter.
And you said in the Open that Cassidy Cook gave up, sacrificed the individual event here to dive in this final with Sarah Bacon. Well, Sam Pickens stepped up in the World Cup to get the quota spot individually for the United States. And that was monumental. It allowed 2 divers to qualify at this trials individually for the Olympic team. This is a different event. Only 1 team gets to go.
Quickly is what's become the custom in diving, looking right away for the replay. So now the noise level picks up for Cassidy Cook. 26 years old. This is her 3rd Olympic trials. At age 17, 9 years ago, she tried to make the team in synchronized 3-meter with partner Olympian Christina Lucas, and they missed by 0.4 of a point.
Up. Ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3, go.
You can hear the verbal cues. That is a very good sign right there. That was a beautiful back dive. The simple dive. Can they score 50 points in the first round or above to start this contest? That would be huge. And this was well timed. Cassidy Cook hits the water just slightly before Sarah Bacon.
But there you go. Well, there, 51 points. Good scores for the Bacon and Cook team. And of course, Cassidy Cook has a ton of family here. But Sarah Bacon, this is her hometown. From Indianapolis. Was an outstanding diver at the University of Minnesota, but you know she's got to be feeling what every athlete who competes in the trials does, trying to make the team both in individual and in synchro.
Big time. And it's nice to have 2 events.
Yep. And now the leaders. Allison Gibson on the left from Austin, Texas, and Krista Palmer on the right from Nevada.
1, 2, 3, go.
How synchronized were they? Not quite as synchronized as Cook and Bacon were. Every point is going to be so important. Every arm movement, every angle of entry, how well will they coordinate? And will points be gained by one team or another in every single round or lost?
And the answer is a little bit of a chip away here. They're going to come up with a 47 points and change total for Gibson and Palmer. So the Cook-Bacon team, and again, these first 2 rounds, as Cynthia said, the degree of difficulty low, so it's going to be hard to make up much ground. But after 1 round, it is still the lead for Gibson and Palmer. That lead now is just a shade under 18 points. And so these leaders, they won the Summer National Championship in 2019, and now hoping that's the catapult that gets them to Tokyo. Trucking has been long-haul trucking for us over the last 15 months.
Right.
Moving goods that everybody's needing around the country.
Mitch and Vicky doing a job that is so much in demand.
1, 2, 3, go.
Synchronized diving evolved out of entertainment diving as we watched Kristen Hayden and Margot O'Meara. Kristen on the right, Margot on the left, do a reverse dive in the second round, still part of the basic dives that carry 2.0. But it evolved out of entertainment diving in the days of the great aqua shows. And the divers performed double dives, that's what they called it back then, in clown suits as well as artistic acrobatic dives.
I want to get to the second. Carolina Sculte on the left. We introduced her. She was a Stanford diver, now diving out of Mission Viejo, and Samantha Pickens on the right. So, of course, Cynthia Potter, a great 3-meter diver, an Olympic medalist. Synchronized diving became an Olympic sport in 2000. Had it been in your era,
I was sad because
how many more medals would be on the Potter mantle?
I loved
I'm going to say 5
diving.
more. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved diving with a partner. It was so much fun when we would go do shows where we did double dives, and we would earn money for our travel fund. The travel fund so that our teams could go to the Nationals.
We're still here in the second round of 5, and in the second round of, as Cynthia says, the basics, 2.0 dives.
The basic dives.
Execution 7.
But it was just amazing to watch those aqua shows with all of these divers who were good, bad, and ugly doing dives in clown suits.
Well, Sarah Bacon, at the end, we watched her through the prelims here. I mean, look, she's from Indianapolis. Again, NCAA, 4-time NCAA champion diver at the University of Minnesota. But you know, having such hope coming to try to make an Olympic team in her hometown.
Ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3, go.
Sarah Bacon did not miss a dive in the preliminaries or the semifinals. She nailed every single dive in the synchronized. She hasn't done as well in the individual event thus far, but they are diving beautifully thus far. Will they score another 50-point dive or above? It's possible. Do they take off at the same time? Do they hit the water at the same time? A little bit of difference there. And do they have the same distance from the diving board? The judges look at that each and every movement. Are they coordinated?
Two dives, the basic dives, 51.0 and 51.6.
That's big.
For Bacon and Cook.
That's big. Same dive by Krista Palmer on the left and Allison Gibson furthest away from us. I would say that was about a match with Cook and Bacon. That was really well done, well timed. Look at this, the movement. Touch the toes, slide the arms down. Now we see a little bit of difference in the timing of the movements coming out of the dive with the arms. So will they score the 50 points? We're going to find out real quick here.
Again, now we'll have 3 rounds of diving left. The degrees of difficulty will go up, and this team has the highest degree of difficulty dive in the competition. Gibson and Palmer do it in the final round. So another chip into the lead. So Bacon and Cook have done about what you could hope through the first 2 rounds of the basic dives, and they've cut that lead just a shade over 14 points now with 3 dives to go. So it is really a 2-team competition for the 1 spot in the Olympic Games. The team of Allison Gibson and Krista Palmer have the lead. It's been narrowed a bit through 2 rounds.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, go.
There's Charlie Campbell on the board closer. Daria Lenz on the far board, excuse me.
The bar.
Yeah.
The bar has been set, that's for sure, by Allison Gibson and Krista Palmer. Forget those 50 points that I was talking about in the first 2 rounds. These are the high degree of difficulty dives. Now we're looking for 65 points or above.
And Cynthia, here, this is where you come in because you've been everything in this sport, not just an Olympic medalist, but coach, a judge. You know this math as well as anyone. The degree of difficulty in the final round, it's a 0.4 of a point advantage for Palmer and Gibson. How much?
That makes a big difference.
Do Bacon and Cook have to be, what position do they need to be in going into the 5th round?
I think they have to be at least tied, if not a point or so ahead. It's tough. It's tough. And I will say that last round dive that's so difficult that Gibson and Palmer do, it's hard to coordinate that one to look good in synchronized diving. So
there's a risk with it.
All kinds of possibilities exist in that. Haley Hernandez and Emily Grun do a back 2.5 somersault. And finally, the points are gained when divers contact the water at the exact same time. And if they don't hit at the same time, there's probably somewhere from a 1/2 to 2-point deduction.
Now, Laura Wilkinson made it through 2 rounds of diving, prelims and semis last night. She will be in the finals of the 10-meter platform on Sunday, and that'll be part of our weekend coverage. We'll have all of the finals on NBC. The individual finals will be Saturday and Sunday.
Kristen Hayden, Marco O'Meara, both diving here in the Indianapolis area. with Coach John Wingfield. I think it is a big plus if you are a member of the same team and you get to train together daily, whether you're practicing synchronized diving or not. Just being in the same place with your synchro partner and working on the same things and seeing what each other is working on daily, I think that can be a big plus, and the internationals almost all do that.
That's a great conversation point we'll have. Just a quick add that Laura Wilkinson, realistically, it would be a miracle of miracles to make the team, given her position right now, but the story is nonetheless extraordinary. She'll be on the Today Show tomorrow morning to talk about this experience.
Well, we know she's an extraordinary woman, and the first Olympic Games she went to, she won a gold medal. That was 21 years ago.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Up. Go.
You can hear the verbal cues given by, most of the time, one diver. Sometimes you get a validation or a confirmation from the other diver that they're ready. Carolina Schulte on the left was counting and asked if Samantha Pickens was ready. And that's what you hear Cassidy Cook doing with Sarah Bacon.
Something else we should mention again tonight is that the trials, the scores accumulate over prelims and semifinals. So every dive over 3 sessions is counted. That does not happen in the Olympic Games. In the Olympic Games for synchronized diving, there is no warm-up. There is just one final competition, 5 dives.
Which certainly might have helped Cassidy Cook not to have to do all those dives with the injured shoulder. But the U.S. is looking for the most consistent divers, and they chose to do prelims, semis, and finals.
Ready?
And add all the scores in those 3 different sessions. They both went sliding past vertical. That's going to affect scores 1, 2, 3 for one diver and 4, 5, 6 for the second diver. And then the synchronization, if it wasn't terrific, it won't score the 7s or above. This is a little bit of a miss.
60 points, and you see Cassidy Cook's reaction to the score total. They know very well what they're facing. The divers know the math, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
They know. Some of them say they don't like to watch the scoreboard. I love to watch the scoreboard. I wanted to know what I needed and whatever, but there are divers that don't.
And their board is Chris DePalmer. The far board now on the left is Allison Gibson from Austin, Texas.
Same degree of difficulty as Sarah Bacon and Cassidy Cook, 3.0. That was a better dive individually. Those first 3 scores for one diver, 3 scores for the second diver will be higher than they were for Cook and Bacon. They were better, and they're going to pick up the points that they lost in the first 2 rounds.
And boy, you were right on, Cynthia. That's almost to the exact number. They get 7 points back to Gibson and Palmer in this 3rd round, and that, well, there's no other way to say it. I mean, that's huge, because now with just 2 rounds remaining, and again, they're very high degree of difficulty dive in the end, Gibson and Palmer have the lead back to where it was at the start. 21 points, getting closer to their Olympic dream. In the synchro men's 10 meter, an event in which they've won medals the last 2 Olympics.
That's right. Silver medal last time, Steele Johnson and David Godiah. And it's the first time that they have not had a spot for the men's platform or 10-meter competition at the Olympic Games. That all started with synchronized diving at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney. Well, there's a pretty nice reverse 2.5 right there. This was well timed. the judges' criteria, to sum it up, is how well are each and every movement coordinated. There were a lot of similarities there. The judges judge from 0 to 10 in half-point increments. So when you see an 8, you know it's considered 2 points from being the best that you can score.
Kristen and Margot, 51-52 lead.
Ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3, go.
That's what I'm talking about when I say those twisting and somersaulting dives are hard to coordinate. If your feet and your legs aren't in the same place, when you unfold out of the somersault to twist, and you can see the differences there. One diver's legs were pointed more towards the back of the ceiling, the other one straight up before they entered the water and before they did the twist. So that's a tough one to coordinate.
Does the sound of the feet hitting the board, that's taken in by the judges?
Yeah, they
has
can
to be at
hear
the
it.
same time, right?
Yeah, and if they hear 1, 2,
Right.
they know that it's not exactly coordinated. Sometimes you can hear it more than you can see it, depending on the acuteness of your senses.
Okay. Samantha Pickens left, Carolina Schulte right.
And we know going backwards, you don't have that forward run to the end and the hurdle where you would hear the feet. Much quieter when you are going off backwards or doing what they call an inward takeoff. This was a back 2.5 somersault pike. And they've been in third position, third place. You can see the rates of rotation just a little bit dissimilar on that, or the RPMs.
6.5, 6.5. Synchronization, 6.5, 6, 7, 7.5, 6.5. Total award, 59.40.
Well, the third Olympic trials for Cassidy Koku again has come back after a retirement. Coming here, she gave us a great quote. Diving has brought me joy and success, also injury and heartbreak. And the good and the bad have made me a stronger athlete and person. I thought that was an incredible summary of what this quest to be an Olympian is.
And she had the heartbreak in 2012. She had the joy and the
1,
success,
2, 3, go.
more so, obviously, in 2016. This is her biggest challenge. She did it very well. A forward 3.5. This is a dive she's had trouble with due to the shoulder and not being able to use as much speed in creating the somersaults.
Execution, 6.5.
And this is pretty amazing that the dives were a little bit different in terms of angle of entry, but the scores are very similar for both divers. Sarah scoring 3 6s and Cassidy receiving a 6, a 6.5, and a 7.
How tough are these dives for Gibson and Palmer when they know how close they are?
Well, I think they've got enough of a lead that they can somewhat relax, but they know their last dive is their biggest challenge, but it's also the biggest benefit to be had because of the high degree of difficulty. I heard a little bit of a stall, but the dives were so dynamic, so strong. They powered through this dive. We see, again, the rates of rotation somewhat dissimilar. When you see them spinning around and different body parts spinning around, you know they're not quite coordinated, but they have such a cushion, they're in great shape.
Well, they have just added more to the lead, and now it's there.
Yeah.
Allison Gibson and
big.
Krista Palmer, they both have chances in the individual as well. Palmer is the leader, and Gibson third, but right now they are one dive from the Olympics.
For 2012, and she wanted to get back to diving as soon as possible, had the surgery immediately after the Olympic trials.
2, 3, go.
And it was a bad shoulder.
Yep.
She's had 2 surgeries on the right shoulder, which is the one she is having trouble with right now.
Daria Lenz and Charlie Campbell. Their final dive, 6th place, starting this last round. And these are the moments. There's just so many.
That's a good last round dive.
Exactly.
65 points plus. Good.
There's just so many colliding emotions, aren't there, at
Yes.
the trials? And yeah, we just had the 14 and 15-year-olds, Bishop and Morabel. What a thrill just to be a part of this. A more veteran team there. And Lenz and Campbell thrilled again to be part of a final.
1, 2, 3, go.
Well, there was trouble from Emily Grun, furthest away from us as we saw that dive. She had trouble in the hurdle. Haley Hernandez did quite a good dive. But when divers finish the Olympic trials, there's always emotion, always. There's emotion going in, and you can imagine the release when they finish.
Haley Hernandez will be back. She is in 2nd place in the individual 3-meter heading into the finals. We're going to see her. We have a great chance to see Kristen Hayden as well. She's in 4th place in the individual.
Yeah.
A handful of these divers are going to be back having another shot at Tokyo.
And it's been said that if you want good synchronized diving teams, not only maybe they should train in the same program together every day, but also you should put your best individual divers in the synchronized competition if you can find an acceptable partner.
Ready?
That's a challenge for a lot of
2,
programs.
3, go.
And I think it's important to note your comment, Cynthia. In the last 2 Olympics, the United States has won 5 medals in synchronized diving. They've only won 2 medals in individual diving this entire decade. They've won 5 in the last 2 games in synchro diving. They had emphasized it with good results.
Absolutely. And if you concentrate on synchronized diving, you might come to expect to do well because there's only 8 teams in the Olympic Games in synchronized diving. 3/8 of them get medals.
Well, here is the other part of the trials is just phenomenal. The future 14-year-old Kaylee Bishop.
Kaylee Bishop and Avery Warble,
right.
they're so cute and they have so much in front of them. They're learning every minute, soaking it up. Fabulous.
3, up.
Sam Pickens, Carolina Schulte, closest to us. Forward 2.5, 1 twist. Very nice synchronization, and that's the same dive that Sarah Bacon and Cassidy Cook are going to do. They follow them immediately. Same exact dive. I said it's hard to synchronize. Well, not for Pickens and Schulte. That was their best dive for sure. It's nice to do your best dive last.
Yep. 3rd trials for Samantha Pickens. Earlier today, I asked Cassidy Cook what's next, and she said she didn't know. She said Sarah Bacon is planning to move to Dallas at the end of this cycle right here, and Cassidy Cook certainly left a door open that if her health cooperates, perhaps there's more.
Ready?
I'm already seeing emotion in Cassidy Cook's face. I'm already seeing that.
1, 2, 3, go.
It's a really good last round dive. They rose to the occasion, and we saw Kevin Cook stand up, Cassidy's father. He's been, with the whole family, unbelievably supportive for so many years. It's their best dive. It's the best dive they did in the competition.
Look at the score, 72-9. And a wonderful smile. And of course, Sarah Bacon will be back in the individual final. She will start that final round in 5th place. But now a very deserved round of applause for the two that here they come with their 3.4 dive to become Olympians.
And all they need to average is 4.5s on this dive. Remember, 10 is the highest score, 0 the lowest. All they need is 4s.
1, 2, 3, up, go.
They've done it. They've done it. They held it together. They kept their poise, their composure. They didn't let anything interfere with their goals and objectives.
The first two members of the United States Olympic diving team for Tokyo, Krista Palmer and Allison Gibson. We use the word earned. They're not chosen, they're not named, they've earned it. And that team, Cynthia, over the 15 dives proved it. They earned it.
They did an amazing job over those prelims, semis, and these finals. Amazing. When they faltered just slightly, they didn't get rattled. They just proceeded on.
Oh my God.
They are terrific.
Allison Gibson was a swimmer. She was recruited at age 9. How about that? At Texas by Matt Scoggin, the longtime coach, to come over and try diving. Krista Palmer, an amazing story in this sport. You don't hear about it very often. Didn't start diving until she was 20 years old.
And
Started
now
on the.
she's an Olympian.
Was in Nevada. The closest tower was in Berkeley, California, 4 hours away. That's where she had to go to be able to access a 10 meter.
She has become an all-around terrific diver, but being a trampolinist prior to this and being a nationally ranked trampolinist helped tremendously. And they are doing some dives on the springboard that much resemble trampoline because remember, a flexible piece of aluminum, similar to a trampoline.
Wonderful scene here as the other divers, many of them the other competitors, congratulating. Remember, this was an event that the United States did not compete in Rio. They did not qualify in this, so it will be a team that has experience. They are the 2019 national champions and now the 2021 Olympic trials winners. And they're both coming back. They both have a shot in the individual. Palmer the leader again, and Gibson in 3rd place.
You put your best individual divers together, you might get a great synchro team. In fact, it's better than might. You probably will get a good synchro team. That may have been the toughest dive to keep their composure on in their lives. The last dive in the Olympic trials. It doesn't matter whether you don't need high scores or you do, you still got to do the dive.
Just do the dive. Interestingly, Cook and Bacon had a higher score in the last round. It was not enough, though. These are the Olympians, Palmer and Gibson, and they're with Kelly.
Two members of the U.S. Olympic diving team headed to Tokyo. Congratulations to both you ladies. Krista,
Thank you.
You've already got a token there. I see it in Olympic rings.
She's ready. What's special about this is Laura Wilkinson gave it to me. She's been an inspiration of mine for my whole childhood up until now. She's amazing for doing what she's doing, and it's just an honor to get this handed to me from her. So.
And to follow in her footsteps and have a chance at your own Olympic gold. What does it mean to you, Allison?
It means so much. I have been, I guess, working for this day my whole life, and now it's here, and it's like surreal. I'm like, pinch me, am I dreaming? Like, it's crazy. It's just, oh, it's incredible.
Krista, you've gotten to the sport a little bit later in life than most. Could you have imagined that relatively early in your diving career you'd be headed to an Olympics?
Yeah, I didn't know, and I mean, last time I was here at Olympic trials, I was a platform diver, And I competed with Taryn, little Taryn, and now I'm here with Allison, and it's just so special to do this alongside her because we just have such a great friendship, such a good bond, and it's just going to be special to share this moment with her.
Yeah.
It already is.
Well, Allison, you both have a shot at another event. You'll both compete later in the individual finals. How does kind of having this spot already secured maybe ease some pressure?
Yeah, it's really nice having it secured because I can just kind of go into the 3-meter individual event and just like have fun with it and see what happens. And so it's definitely really, really nice knowing that we already have a spot.
Krista, how did you guys keep your composure throughout all these rounds and especially here tonight?
How did we do
Dancing,
that?
smiling, a lot of
Dancing,
smiling, bad jokes, a lot of really bad jokes. Coming up with weird words, like slocking. Yeah, just a lot of crazy random humor, but.
Well, it's worked. Congratulations to you both. We look forward to seeing both of you compete again in the individual event. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Praise the Lord.
What a really confirmation of your point, Cynthia, when you put the divers together and there's a chemistry. You could hear it with those two.
It was wonderful to see the camaraderie as well as the excellence in diving, the athleticism, the skill. Beautiful.